Welcome to Chef's Take. I'm your host, Michael Zavlaris, along with Anthony and Sal.
The Unk is in the house.
Yeah, you get to see him in person this time. I'm currently out of the studio. As you can tell, this is not my normal setup. He's currently in my setup. Uh, Vicente and Matt will be joining in a little bit, or at least Vicente for all I know. So, Uncle, how are you?
I'm doing all right, nephew. How are you?
Doing great. Great. It was a pain in the ass to not gonna lie. It was a little bit of a pain to do this, but hey, we're golden, so that's good.
I'm enjoying all my merch and memorabilia here.
I know, good for you. We're gonna be getting more of that in on November 20th when I see Dawkins.
Looks like you have hair and nail crew there.
Yeah,
Hair
I
and
know.
makeup.
I know. So week 8 passed. Everyone's record this week was god awful. So I was 8-7. Matt was uh, 7-8. Vicente was 7-8. You were 9-6.
That's right.
Anthony, I usually put his picks in anyway. He was 7-8, and Madden was 7-8.
Surprising.
So you're
That was
just.
awful.
This was a long way of telling me I just scored the best of everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
Some things never, never change. Continuing on.
Yep. So let's talk about the Eagles. Uh,
Them birds.
we currently hold the second, 8th, and 14th pick in the draft. Beautiful. Nothing happened trade wise. This like it has been the past couple years. Um, we did acquire a rookie cornerback from Denver, Kerry Vincent Jr., and all it took was a 6th round pick. Not many people know about him, but from what I heard, he had a 4.33 40-yard dash, which is blazing fast. So that's something to look at.
That's pretty quick, but I did hear that he didn't have a single snap in the
Yeah,
live
he hasn't
game.
seen the field yet,
All
from
right.
what I heard.
Interesting moves.
Yeah, no big deal. So the Eagles were trying to move Cox at the trade deadline. They wanted at least a second or third round pick for him. He does have a $26 million cap hit next year, so I could see why we're going to trade him away. But of course we didn't. So
It's a big price to pay for an older gentleman. He's from
who
last
doesn't
week's
fit for
episode.
defensive?
He's going to be joining JP and some of the others at that old Grandpa's barbecue. So,
Yeah, pretty much. So, and besides, it doesn't even fit Jonathan Gannon's system anyway.
yep,
Like, like,
he's
like
he,
even
he he's thriving, but it's really what is his name? Hargrave, Javon Hargrave,
Hargrave. Yeah,
who's
John
just
Hargrave.
eating and eating.
Yeah, I know. Probably because people are double teaming Fletcher Cox, which leaves Hargrave to go 1-on-1,
That's all right.
which is working. So,
I
yeah,
would
he
say
already
so.
has 6 sacks on the year.
Absolutely.
We waived Eric Wilson because apparently he was having such a bad season this year. Awful, from what I heard. That is not surprising because what are you doing?
What things are not? Don't know what.
Untie it. So, this is not the first time that we've signed a linebacker and cut him in the same season. We did it with Zach Brown a couple years. Yeah, Zach Brown a couple years ago. We did it with Paul Warlow in 2018, even though he was only supposed to be like a special teams guy. There was another linebacker, I forget who it was. Um, oh yeah, we signed a linebacker from who was from the Chargers last year, and he just ended up retiring. So that yeah,
Eric Wilson.
yeah, Eric Wilson. We got rid of Eric Wilson. We waived him, and now I believe he's on the Texans. But from what I heard, he hasn't done well. He hasn't done well with it this year. And according
Jatavis
to
Brown.
yeah, that's his name. But yeah, and they're even saying that what's his name? Alex Singleton is having a worse season. Like Pro Football Focus, I'm sure you know who they are. Apparently, he has a worse grade than Nate Gary than from last year,
Well,
which
that's
is
no good.
terrible. Yeah, but I mean that's not the only stat I should look at. But Alex Singleton, I think he's like top 5 in tackles this year. He has like 77 right now, and I believe Wagner's in first place with like 93. So
All right.
now we've talked about it many times, but figured we'd talk about it on stream. Should we claim OBJ off of waivers?
I personally think the guy is incredibly toxic, and it seems no matter where he goes, he stirs up some kind of drama. He is a big play freak, but he really hasn't played any competitive football since he left New York. So, does he still have it in him? He's got multiple injuries. It looked like he tried to do a Bruce Leroy jump kick last year and ended up tearing his ACL. Don't know what that was about. A lot of hysterics for nothing.
Yeah. And his dad, Odell Beckham Sr., I don't know if you watched the video, but he posted like an 11-minute long video of Odell being like wide open and Baker Mayfield like not even looking his way, or when he's throwing it to him completely missing. So even Darius Slay and Chris Harris were talking about it. They're like, bro, this guy was wide open and such. And these are two like at the time, at some point in their careers, they were top 10 at their position. So, but yeah, they're even saying like, wow, this guy really was like wide open on most of his plays.
Yep, that's poor play on Baker Mayfield's side, and he's got a couple injuries himself he's dealing with. That doesn't excuse the fact that he's not doing his reads. But then again, when you're a team with two stellar backs, one of which is out right now, you have D'Ernest Johnson who's filling in for Kareem Hunt who's out with an injury, still weeks away from returning. I think what is it? They play at the number one clip rate of runs in the league, if not number 2, I believe.
Oh, honestly, I haven't looked.
So,
but
guys
Where are
not
they
forced to
playing
make the
again?
reads.
where are they playing again?
The Browns are playing.
Oh, actually,
Right.
I have it right here.
They will be
Yeah,
playing
they're playing Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, the Bengals.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a thing. I saw a thing on Instagram earlier today. Statistically, I can actually try and find it on my phone real quick. But from what I saw, Baker is statistically better when Odell is not on the field. I can find that real quick.
Yes, I don't remember where that was from, but I believe several outlets have covered that exact comment. I believe Colin
Yeah.
Cowherd from his YouTube channel, well, his show, which is also on YouTube,
Yeah.
from FS1, I believe he stated multiple times that Baker just has stronger days when OBJ is not with the team or not playing. Going back to his injury from the ACL I spoke about earlier, where he tried jump kicking somebody, or at least it looked like he was learning ballet, or maybe it was the dirty dancing, kind of thing. And
Yeah, he probably wanted to try that again with another teammate.
yeah,
I'm looking
well,
right
didn't work
here.
out for him.
Yeah. So I'm looking right here. Baker Mayfield without, Baker Mayfield with Odell, 29 career games. Baker has a 84.8 passer rating. He's averaging 228 yards a game, 42 touchdowns, 29 picks. And this is from Stat News. And I usually use this website a lot because they're pretty good. Baker Mayfield without Odell, 25 career games, 95.5 passer rating, 257.2 yards per game, 39 touchdowns, 17 picks. So, obviously, it's pretty lopsided.
Yeah. With OBJ gone, we're going to see a bump in Jarvis Landry. I think D'Ernest Johnson.
Richard Higgins.
Higgins is going to get more. Donovan People-Jones, I believe, or Ricky Seals-Jones.
Mm-hmm.
see quite a bit more of him playing, so not necessarily a bad thing there. I think there's plenty of talent on that roster and the receiving core, so I think they'll quite be all right. I just got a notification here that says, Henry Ruggs, if we haven't done it already in previous shows, our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody involved, whether it be the Ruggs girlfriend and the family of, I believe her name's Tina, and the dog passed away. Henry Ruggs has been hit with 5 charges over fatal crash, 4 of which are felonies. 5 total charges stemming from his fatal car crash this week, including 4 felonies. Court records show that he's been hit with DUI, DUI resulting in death, DUI resulting in substantial bodily harm, which I'm assuming is because his girlfriend got injured, and 2 reckless driving charges. They have footage from a block before the accident happened, where it was very clear that it was his vehicle, red lights going down the side. This is from another website, TMZ, is reporting this information. This is not my own. Please contact them for anything else, but shows that it was his red light, and they proceed to post video and images, facing 2 to 46 years in jail. He posted his $150,000 bail. The Raiders have released him already. And on the heels of another story that's coming out from the Raiders' backfield, one of their cornerbacks, unfortunately, was involved in an illegal right-hand turn into the Raiders' facility, sideswiped a woman who's now suing him for pain in the neck, the back, as well as pain and suffering and anxiety. Apparently, he left the scene before the police arrived, had a friend stay on site, and eventually this friend actually intended, as far as TMZ is concerned, claimed to be the reason why the accident happened. He was the driver when it was found out that he indeed was not. So who knows about the legal ramifications there. But now you have this. So between Gruden, Ruggs, and now the cornerback, which is name I'm trying to locate at this moment, some pretty bad press coming out of the Raiders facility. Very unfortunate for them. I think the only good news coming out of the Raiders at this point is Darren Waller is expected to play in Week 9.
Yeah, that's a plus for them.
And, well, as far as pluses could possibly go,
that's like the positive thing they've had in recent memory. They lost their coach because of all the emails. They lost their receiver that they just drafted last year with the 12th overall pick, first receiver selected, because of his decisions. And another defensive player almost the same related incident.
Yep. The reports say that he swerved around this person, making an illegal turn from the right-hand lane at 65 miles an hour at 7:30 in the morning, attempting to get to a Las Vegas Raiders training facility. The first rounder, Damon Arnett, who was picked 7 picks after Ruggs, and this is back stemming from October 14th, 2020, so we're nearly a year removed from this accident. A woman has come forward, and she's suffered damages exceeding $92,000, including head trauma, dealing with shoulder, neck, back pain, as well as depression and panic attacks. The police documents state that Arnett said he only left because he was running late to a meeting at work, which really doesn't make leaving a scene of an accident legal or a good excuse, but had a friend take the scene to provide contact information to authorities. Cops claim the friend did not provide Arnett's info and actually tried to take the fall for the NFL player, but cops were ultimately able to get to the bottom of it after locating Arnett at the Raiders facility. So, Raiders, what are you doing? Bunch of young gentlemen here and seasoned folks that are just making terrible decisions. And
I know.
2021, man, get with it.
Yeah, that roster, I remember a couple years ago they had Richie Incognito and what's his name? Vontae Burfict, whatever his name is. They both were in the same locker room, and that's already toxic enough because I don't know if you know, but Richie Incognito was accused of being a bully on the field and even off the field, saying messed up stuff. And then you have Vontae Burfict, who at the time was the NFL's dirtiest player because he's the one that gave Antonio Brown that cheap shot, and very well, possibly, not going to assume, but possibly could have gave Antonio Brown CTD.
What's he
back in
doing?
the
CTE.
playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the playoff. Oh yeah, CTE. Back in the playoffs about a couple years ago, if anyone remembers that.
Yes,
But
and I believe Juju Smith-Schuster later gave him a nice chip block and blew him in the next week.
yeah,
I got to say that seemed like it was deserved, but
yeah, I think so. And then the whole drama between Antonio Brown and Juju happened. Whatever. Um, let's get back on topic with the Eagles. So, as I was talking about claiming Odell, the Eagles currently have the eighth waiver spot, and only one other team, like as of right now, with the contract that teams would inherit, I believe there's only 9 teams that can afford that, us being one of them. And there's only one team in front of us in waivers who actually has the money to inherit that contract, and that's Jacksonville. When healthy, Odell does get 1,000 yards a season. And when I mean like healthy, I mean like, playing at least like 10, 12 games. And like his 2, 3 years, like he got hurt, he obviously didn't get 1,000 yards, but when he plays, 10 or more, he's been getting 1,000 yards. So I don't know where these people are talking about. And when I mean these people, I mean fans. I don't know what they're talking about when they say Odell is overrated and such, because the second he got released, those same people are tagging their teams in comment sections to try and have their team sign him. Does that work? No.
Nope.
But in other words, these people bash Odell, and then right when he's released, they want their teams to pick him up.
sure.
I don't think he's overrated. It's just
He's
a matter of
probably-
like the quarterback he has, because like he did great with Eli Manning, like 1,000 yards like every year until 2017 he got hurt.
The bane of Brady's
Um,
existence.
Yeah, and Nick Foles, the walking tripod.
BDN taking care of business. It's crazy that Brady, side note, has been to 10 Super Bowls, won 7 of them, lost 3, 2 to Eli, 1 to Nick Foles.
Yeah, all
Yikes,
those
big
two
yikes.
quarterbacks being in the NFC East. So it seems like that's his weakness.
Yep.
Just went into a Super Bowl with Dallas.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
With the Jaguars being the first dibs, essentially, on the waiver for OBJ, they did get rid of Keelan Cole, so he's no longer on the team. You have Marvin Jones, who was supposed to have a flash year as far as fantasy is concerned, has lived up to it week to week
Yeah,
here
there's
and there,
no
but that's it. Then you have Laviska Shenault, who apparently has just fallen off the map here. He was doing fantastic for the Jaguars and a struggling Trevor Lawrence with Urban Meyer as a new head coach in the NFL. So, hey, it is what it is with those two guys. But James Agnew has been picking up steam. Dan Arnold is a recent acquisition over to the Jaguars. So, I mean, there's your receivers 1 and 2 with James Robinson with a heel injury. OBJ may be able to get in depending on what Urban Meyer's scheme is. I think OBJ was what, LSU, or where did he go?
LSU.
He did go
But
to LSU.
Urban Meyer was at a couple of places, but he's more known for being the coach at Ohio State.
Oh, the Ohio State. So, with that being said,
Right.
how different is the schemes that he's going to be running compared to OBJ? Is he going to make an impact immediately if he were to go to Jacksonville? I think he is an upgrade across the board.
I would say so.
I would say he upgrades. I mean, James Agnew has been stepping up. James Robinson is obviously an elite back as a UDFA running back last year. Was one of, I believe, top 10 in fantasy production for running backs, and he was a UDFA. With that being said, I think he will help release this how much people are stacked in the box with their current running back situation. I believe Robinson's due back in a week or two after his heel injury. But hey, after that is the Eagles. Like I said, OBJ has his, where he lifted his leg as in celebration of a dog urinating on the goalpost. Kind of creepy.
Yeah, that's when he had season-ending ankle injury.
Mom, there you go. That's all I gotta say
I
about
don't
that.
think it was season-ending actually, but he did miss practically the whole season because of an ankle injury he suffered the following week.
Yep. So with that being said, it seems like the guy has a maturity level problem. As far as campaigning for hashtag and your team on social media, OBJ is a flashy guy. So he's got a lot of important friends in different fields, whether it be owners of teams in other leagues outside of football. LeBron James went to bat for him on, I believe, Twitter or Instagram. Free LeBron or free OBJ, if I'm not mistaken, amongst other players in different sports and in football, trying to get them and railing to move around. And those guys' voices carry weight much more than a person on social media who's not involved professionally in any sport or any capacity of just about anything that matters to a deal like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. What do you got next?
Well, I'm good. Like usually when I do this, start off with Eagle stuff, given that everyone that's on the show is usually Eagle fans. But I already have like one or two more things to say about Odell. Then we move on to last week's carnage that occurred in Detroit. So
Big yikes.
If we do get Odell, he would easily be our best receiver since Terrell Owens, which was sad to say 16 years ago.
Big yikes.
What about Deshaun Jackson? Wasn't he?
Well, Deshaun Jackson was good too, but I think Odell is a better receiver than Deshaun.
Yeah, he is.
I would say so. Deshaun Jackson was like known for his speed. Odell has like the hands, speed. He has like all of it. But the reason why I've told you many times, the reason why I think we should get Odell is because if the rumors are true that we're going to trade for a quarterback this offseason, and quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, doubt it. But if those rumors are true, acquiring Odell could gain traction, because if I were a quarterback, I would be much happier to have like a Odell Beckham and Devontae Smith than Devontae Smith and Jalen Reagor, who
hasn't done much.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jalen Reagor, he's actually seems like he's gotten back to the practice field. He posted a practice today, Friday.
Yeah, they said he's playing.
So that's good news there.
I think he sprained his ankle against the Lions.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Fowler and another source at ESPN said that we are a sleeper team to claim him. I mean, look, I'm on social media all the time. We're a sleeper team to get all these people. I don't want to get my hopes up for Odell, but if we really are going to get like a Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson next year, if we want them to waive their no trade clause for them to come here, we have to bring in weapons now, and Odell would be a perfect one because there's like no one else at the moment. We would have to wait until free agency this coming season to do that. But I would bring in Odell, because not only that, it could help Hurts even, because Hurts' two targets right now are Goddard and Smith, and recently Smith has been like dropping passes. I don't know what the hell that's about, but I think Odell would be an instant impact if he came here. But Odell would help us in many ways right now if we do get him. I think we should put a claim in for him on Monday. That's when Odell can get claimed on Monday 4 p.m. So for our future, I would try and bring in Odell.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. The Eagles, I think, even before the season started, during the season, before the trade deadline, even after the trade deadline, I think are one team in all of the 32 teams that apparently has interest in every single player that has interest in leaving a location or is up for trade or whatever. You pick. It's getting tiring hearing about all the Watson rumors and the Russ rumors. I'm just waiting to see them put something to paper. Otherwise,
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, it's a habit of Roseman's to put information out there and not have any kind of solidarity behind it. Nobody's talking about it. It's always one or two people say it, and it's like, just stop with the rumors. It's getting tiring. But mentioning the Lions getting ankles, a sprained ankle in the Lions game, my goodness. Boston Scott 8, Jordan Howard 8, Gainwell absentee.
Yeah, Gainwell struggled that game. Like, it seems like every time I saw him get a touch, he was losing yardage. In fact, that brings me to the players of the game. We have Boston Scott, 12 carries, 60 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jordan Howard, 12 carries, 57 yards, and 2 tutties. And let's give the defense some love. Josh Sweat, 2 sacks. So
Josh Sweat,
those are my stars of the game. Yeah. Let's talk about the offense. We ran the ball for once.
Yeah, at a very high rate. I think 60% of our runs were designed.
Yeah. Now, I get it. Granted, it's the Lions, but still promising to see. We ran the ball, I think we ran the ball 41 times. I think we ran the ball 41 times this game.
In an NFL, full NFL game without overtime, I think you usually get between low 60s to low 70s offensive plays per game. To have over 40 of those plays, or 60-something% be runs. And if I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere that they were constructed runs. These weren't RPOs, that they were constructed to be a run play.
They're full on handoffs.
They're all handoffs. So pretty wild. It's one thing that everybody's been complaining about. The NFL Fantasy Show has been saying it over and over again, beating this story to death. And I'm glad they did it. 4 tuggies and 120 yards rushing between 2 players. I think Gainwell didn't really see the ball reliably until the fourth quarter when things were already fully out of hand. I think it was already 31-0 by that point. Score ended up being... Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nope.
So I'm looking right here. We had 62 total plays, and 46 of them were runs.
Yikes.
So, and Hurts only threw the ball 16 times. I don't want people to criticize Hurts on that. He did not struggle at all this game. We were literally a running team Sunday. So I don't want to hear any Hurts slander for that game. And even passing-wise, he actually did pretty good. But we were a running team on Sunday.
Yep. And they took that W. And I think this is something that maybe could snowball into a more of a push to get some more W's. Speaking of that, Carson Wentz has now played, if I'm not mistaken, 6 or 8 of the games so far.
Yeah, he's played 52% of his snaps. I mean, well, as of right now, he played 99% of his snaps, but season-wise, he's played 52%, which we would need probably a few more games. People are saying week 13, we can get to 75%.
Right, so that's what I'm thinking as well, because they're currently sitting at 3-5, 4-5.
Yeah.
It's 4.
They're not, but they're not going to bench Carson Wentz though, because he wasn't happy. I can tell right now he wasn't happy about getting benched in Philly. So, what do you think is going to happen if he gets benched in Indy, and he's actually doing pretty well?
Well, I got to be honest. We saw Carson Wentz 2018, 2019. Those goofy plays where he just makes poor decisions, like throwing a ball to a defender in the end zone. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of play style than you normally would see. But hey, he has his on moments and he has his off moments. Yesterday was a great game, carried on the back by Jonathan Taylor. 2 receiving, 1 rushing touchdown. I think he's going to get to 75%, but that's if they continue to keep games competitive and keep playing. If Frank Reich is calling it and doesn't want to hurt his glass cowboy over there, the guy's got injuries from toes to nose. You got to keep him healthy. If they can continue to win games and stay in the race, I think we're good. I think we'll have those 3 picks in the top 9, I believe it is, or top 14. But that remains to be seen. They need to get a winning record, I think, to fulfill that need. And it'd be fantastic if they did. But then again, for how he was treated, could you honestly say you would not expect him to say, I'll take a week off and get 74.9% of his snaps? That would be
That would
hilarious.
be petty. It would be
That would be
funny,
petty.
and
It was, it'd be,
I would not hold it against him either.
it's a major troll, and he's a very
I know.
religious guy. I'm assuming he's a nice guy. You've met him on multiple occasions. I'm sure
I
his
have.
names are somewhere located on several of these items up front. Uh, but yeah, we'll see. Hey,
Believe it or not, my Wentz memorabilia is not. None of it is there actually.
all right, fair
But
enough.
yeah, like his signature on like three or four different items as of right now. Rookie card, football, picture when I met him at Rite Aid, and a mini helmet.
Yep.
Now he's on another team, so much for that. But it's okay. I have a Super Bowl 52 MVP, so that's good.
There you go.
So, okay, now enough for me flexing. So yeah, 350 total yards, um, and 236 of those yards were on the ground. And yeah, Hurts, Howard, and Scott combined for 236 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. Um, and for once, something we never saw, we actually won the time of possession game. We had 35 minutes flat on offense because usually, and that's the problem with us, usually the opposing team has the most time of possession, which leaves our defense tired, which is why I think we lost some of those early games like San Francisco because they kept our defense on the field and you saw them, they were sluggish.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
they couldn't blop a paper bag at that point.
yeah. We were only penalized twice for 15 yards, so thank God. And we were, I don't know if we still are, but at one point we were the most penalized
I
team
believe
by,
the Bucks have taken that from us. I think the last game the Bucks played, they had like 13 penalties and like 185 yards or something insane.
yeah. So I would say the top offensive performance would be Boston Scott. I mean, now you could say Jordan Howard, but I'm giving Scott the edge because they had the same amount of carries, same amount of touchdowns, but Boston Scott did have 3 more yards than Howard, so I have to give it to Scott. I would get now, like I said, it's Detroit, but offensively, I would give us an A plus because we just simply dominated on offense.
I would agree.
I and I don't know. I think you did pick the Eagles last week, right?
I believe I did. I
Yeah,
think what my
me
comment
and
was when you
got
asked who my pick was, I believe I said, I don't know. We're going to see how the offense plays, but I think the Eagles are going to squeak it out.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
now
they
they're
squawk it out all right. That was a pretty loud squeak. So,
yeah. I thought we are gonna. Yeah, me and Matt Vicente, we thought they were gonna lose. So, oh well. Now
got a 9
defensively,
and 6 record, baby.
yeah, you're the only one. Yeah, you did lead that week, so good for you. Everyone else just flat out sucked.
Just pat the back real quick, boys.
Yeah, the defensive line dominated Detroit's offense. 6 sacks on Jared Goff. Um,
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised actually. Detroit, we held Detroit, not Detroit. We held DeAndre Swift to 57, like 51 total yards on 17 touches, and rushing wise, we held Detroit to 57 rushing yards, despite being like one of the worst in the league. And like I said, you have DeAndre Swift in the backfield. So I thought he was going to shred us. He didn't. Obviously, nobody did. If anything, it would have been T.J. Hawkinson because he like caught everything and had some good chunks of yardage. Started him in fantasy. He was a key contributor to me winning last week. I beat Anthony, thank God.
I'll tell you what, I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they really weren't worried about covering him. I think they were more concerned with keeping him in front of them. Although I
I think
do.
yeah, I think that's the way our defense works, no matter who it is, because like if you look at the last few weeks, like completion percentage wise, like you see the quarterbacks like Derek Carr. When I was watching the game, throughout the game, he only had like 3 incompletions. Jared Goff, let's take a look here. Now, towards the end of the game, but Jared Goff did have completed 73.5% of his passes, which is still pretty good for a game. Derek Carr completed what's it Derek Carr completed 91% of his passes. He only threw 3 incompletions. So that just tells you the defense just says, okay, uh, you can catch everything you want as long as you're in front of us, which is why we are a like top 15 pass defense in the league, which was something we haven't been in a while. So,
absolutely. Which reminds me of the game that was on last night with the Jets. Johnson came in, started passing the ball at the fourth quarter. It's a shame he got very upset. I mean, he was down 15 points with maybe under a minute, 45 seconds left, and he was moving the ball in 10, 12-yard increments, and was moving the ball and then got a pick. You know, the Colts do what the Colts do, and they picked them off.
It wasn't even his fault either.
No, it wasn't his fault. But here's the thing. He got really upset and smashed his helmet into the cart and the sidelines. It's like, bro, you have 45 seconds to score 15 points on the Colts. You're going to onside kick it? You know, it's maybe, okay, fine. Very difficult to do. You got to get a 2-point conversion just to tie it against the fairly stout defense. But at the same time, the Colts were doing the exact same thing. They kept every single ball ahead of them and pushed everybody out of bounds or kept them in bounds if they could. So, you know, I mean, that seems to be defense 2021. Look what's happening to the Chiefs, 2-5 or 3-5, horrible record. I think they've lost more games so far halfway through the 2021 season combined in the last 2 seasons. So with that being said, they're just dominating. Let Tyreek go off. Let him catch everything you want. Kelsey has been non-existent nearly for the last couple of weeks. The running game has been meh, which has been an issue with the Chiefs for a couple of years. So I think it's becoming defenses are, you know, it was turning into a passing league. You saw these guys, Devontae Adams last year, had him on my fantasy, took that ship right home, just went off, would score 30 to 50 points every single week. And it was just air yard, air yard, air yard. Well, defenses are getting tired of just getting picked off all over the place, so now they're just playing deep. I think if you look at the Colts footage, you'll see that their defensive secondary was 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, keeping everybody in front of you. How are you not going to complete a 10-yard pass? They've got to run 15 feet just to get to where you are. You know, so you get met in the middle, you still get your 10-yard gain, you still get your first down, but hey, guess what? You force them to make the plays. And they couldn't, and they lost. And it is what it is. Sucks that Mike White got injured. You never knew if he was going to be the great hope, but whatever. It is what it is.
Well, isn't that like a little, like, if you think about it, like, imagine being Joe Douglas, former Eagles executive, Zach Wilson, you know, had, like, granted he's on the Jets, but Zach Wilson just flat out sucked throughout this season. Then you see Mike White turn into Tom Brady 2.0. Mike White gets hurt. Then you see Josh Johnson go off, and this guy is a Voyager. Like, I don't know if you've seen, like, how many teams he's been on since coming into the league.
Is
like,
he a McCown? Or
yes,
Fitzmagic?
He's exactly a Fitzpatrick and McCown. And he goes off. That, like, you invested, not blaming, I don't want to blame Zach Wilson at all, but you invested your second overall pick in a quarterback, and then you have the backup and third stringer outperform him, and it's just a single game. Like, Zach Wilson, throughout, like, multiple games of the season, he had 4 passing touchdowns and more interceptions. Mike White, I believe, got, like, 4 touchdowns alone, like 3 or 4 touchdowns alone in his first game against Cincinnati last week, which is like, I picked up the Bengals defense last week because I'm sort of thinking, like, okay, the Jets backup quarterback, how can he be any better than their starter? Just my luck turned out to be wrong. Also messed up a lot of people's parlays from what I heard last week. So
people losing parlays by a couple of yards for the last few weeks. Forget the parlays. But yeah, so the BYU product and Zach Wilson just hasn't worked out yet. Given
I wasn't that crazy about him, regardless. Anyway,
I don't think anybody was really crazy about him. There was stirred up drama, but that's what happens every draft. Kind of comes around draft. Everybody's an absolute stud. They're the next Joe Montana. They're the next Brady. They're the next this, that, blah, blah, blah. You're just driving up your stock price. You're talking him up because, hey, maybe he's not really your pick. Maybe Zach Wilson wasn't the pick that they wanted. Maybe they wanted Mac Jones, and he ended up getting dipped anyway. It's happened multiple times. So look what happened with Goddard last year, or Micah Parsons the year before. Micah Parsons the year before last year, and Goddard the year before that. So it's just silly how they talk these guys up and say they're crazy. And look at the rookie quarterbacks. How have they done? I think Justin Herbert's the only one that's broken the mold so far. And he got in simply because
year.
Tyrod got poked in the lung.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. This poor guy's gotten bumped plenty of times. But I will defend Zach Wilson in one way in the fact that those two quarterbacks have been on the field a while. Flacco didn't see any starts. He had just re-signed there. He looked really happy in his presser about being back there. He looked about as happy as Robert Saleh did when you watched the game last night. It just looked like he had a slow, burning rage developing inside, but he did a hell of a job maintaining it.
I did too when Michael Pittman was 6 yards short. And believe it or not, I'm pretty sure when I was watching the game, he caught a slant route. And he got tripped up, and he was like 6 yards away from the end zone as well.
That's how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh well.
All right.
Who cares?
What else you got?
So onto the NFL stuff now. Now we're past the Eagles. Let's talk about the injuries that occurred last week. Kyler Murray sprained his ankle, which will take 1 to 3 weeks to heal. He's on my fantasy team. Jameis Winston tears his ACL. He's out for the season. And despite him tearing his ACL, that didn't stop him from celebrating in the locker room last week. As of right now, Trevor Siemian, make sure to say his last name correctly, please, looks like he'll be the starter on Sunday. And Taysom Hill is coming back from concussion, and they're saying he's going to contribute in some way, like, the gadget player he usually is. So we're going to see Taysom Hill back again. Derrick Henry, many thought he was going to have a season-ending foot injury. Probably will, but right now they're saying 6 to 8 weeks for him. But I think he's probably going to be out for the year. I mean, look, this is like many people viewed him as the best running back in the league solely because McCaffrey couldn't stay healthy, because Matt Rule doesn't know how to let the guy take a break. But if I were the Titans, I wouldn't rush him back at all, especially with did they sign him to a long-term deal yet, or did they franchise tag him? Because I know they gave Tannehill a contract before Henry.
I'm not sure. I'm actually looking that up now, and I don't have any information to answer that question. But
okay.
I agree. Let King Henry just relax. They should be able to coast. A.J. Brown did pop up with a questionable tag today at a Friday practice. So that's never fun. They do have AP. I wonder how. I'm assuming they're going to do a 1A 1B situation with McNichols handling third downs, blocking plays, and any passing plays in the end zone. But AP should get all the touches in the red zone, green zone area, all the high target or the high value targets. So
yeah. And
let's see how Tannehill plays without Henry, because I think Tannehill's only played one game with the Titans without Henry in the backfield. So this should be interesting to see how he is. Is he going to run the ball
You don't
more?
happen to know how he did that week, did you?
I don't remember. I think it was in 2019. I think week 6 maybe in 2019. I'm going off of memory here, and
It's fine.
It's getting foggy the older I get. But does that mean Tannehill's going to get his legs back? Because last year Tannehill was a quarterback of mine in fantasy and did quite well for several weeks. I had that stack for a little bit. With that being said, does he get his wheels back? Does he start rushing the ball more? Is he going to slide into that Allen Murray situation where his wheels get him some more points in fantasy? Is he going to help the team that way? I know that's one reason why Chase Edmonds and James Conner aren't as more established as they are, because essentially there's 2 running backs on the field at all times for the Cardinals. Same thing with the Ravens. Look how muddy that field is. So we'll see how that goes. But they're doing well right now, and we'll see how they already lost, I think it was Arthur Smith to the Falcons. So we'll see how it turns out with their new OC without Henry. I'm sure that was a great piece to have, but it's gone for the remainder of this season, possibly returning in playoffs. But we'll see how that plays out.
Playoffs. I believe they are first place in their division right now, 6-2.
Yep. So they've got a comfortable lead or a comfortable record right now, but certainly no time to take their foot off the pedal. Got to keep the gas going to keep it going. With Kyler Murray, though, they did say Steve Keim, the general manager for the Cardinals, they need to think of the big picture with Kyler Murray. Trying to be smart with him. Doesn't mean he's not going to play in Week 9, but it sure as heck would make sense at 7-1 to be cautious. With him. A lingering injury will be really bad for a Super Bowl run. They're going up against the 49ers come Sunday. With that being said, Javon Kinlaw is season-ending injury with an ACL reconstruction operation recently happening. Elijah Mitchell is questionable. He ended up with a non-contact jersey throughout the week, considered questionable for Sunday. You have Jeff Wilson is coming back from the IR ahead of schedule, so that may be something to monitor. And we'll see how that goes. Deebo Samuel is also questionable. His calf injury is worse this week than it was last, by Kyle Shanahan's voice or mouth. We'll see how his final status comes up. We'll get some more updates, I would imagine, Saturday at about 4 o'clock. George Kittle is going to be coming back from IR. He's getting designated from got activated from injury reserve. He may not play this week, but it's more likely next week. So they're getting a few pieces back, losing a few pieces, which is the story of the 2020s for the 49ers.
Yeah. So I'm looking here. Derrick Henry did, in fact, sign a 4-year, $50 million contract. He has a potential opt-out in 2022, but if he doesn't, he'll be a free agent in 2024. So, yeah, he did sign his contract already. So, Henry out for likely after the season. Marcus May tore his Achilles yesterday. Michael Thomas will miss the rest of the season following a new ankle injury. Dallas Cowboys Jabril Cox, who's a rookie linebacker, tore his ACL. And Danielle Hunter suffered a torn pectoral, and he's out for the year as well. So
it's a shame about Marcus May. I mean, he's on the Jets. The Gase curse still exists, apparently. That's a stench you're going to have for years to come. But if I'm not mistaken, he was on the trade block before.
Yeah, and he's on an expiring contract too.
Yeah, that's a shame for that guy. He's got to get out of there.
No one's going to sign him yet.
Yeah, well, nobody's going to sign him anymore this year. And unless they get a really friendly deal next year, not fun. Yeah. Not fun.
So, trade deadline passed. Not exciting, but a couple trades. The main one everyone talks about, Von Miller traded to the Rams for a second and third round pick. The Bills and the Cowboys also tried to acquire him. I don't know if you saw this. I thought it was hilarious. The Rams GM, I forget his name. But
Les Snead?
I think so. His kids gave him a cup. It's a picture of him in black and white. And then, because this is like an old Michael Jordan meme. Michael Jordan, it would be a black and white picture of him, and in white lettering, it would say "F them kids." For the Rams general manager, his kids gave him a cup, black and white picture of him with a caption saying "Fuck them picks," because right now their first pick,
they're giving them all away.
Draft is a 5th round pick, so. Yeah.
They're spending them faster than they get them, it almost seems. And they are certainly...
It's been like that the past few years. Like, right now, they're literally in win-now mode. If they do not win the Super Bowl this year, honestly, as of right now, I think the Super Bowl will I think it's going to be the Bills and Rams, which will be nice, because they both have great offenses and defenses. If they don't win now, they're in trouble.
If it does turn out Bills-Rams in the next Super Bowl, I really hope it doesn't turn out to that Rams Super Bowl from a few years ago, where I think they scored 3 measly points. I think that was one of the least watched Super Bowls by halftime.
Yeah, it was
awful.
I think it was 3-3 at halftime, I believe. Then you had Vicente. I love ranting on Vicente every week. Yeah, Vicente's like, guys, it was a good defensive Super Bowl. I'm like, that is true, but nobody cares about defense. When you watch a Super Bowl, everybody wants a good shootout. Like, nobody liked, at least not Seahawks fans, but Super Bowl 46 or it was Super Bowl 46, no, Super Bowl 47 when the Seahawks blew Peyton Manning and that historical offense out. Nobody likes a blowout Super Bowl or a low-scoring Super Bowl. People want a shootout. That, in fact, was not a shootout 2 years ago. I hope that's not the case if those two teams are in there. Like, I want it to be like, I want each of them to score at least, or at least I'm hoping each of them score at least 20 points.
Yeah, that'd be good. I want to see some action. I want to see some fireworks, and I don't mean at halftime or the beginning or the end of the game. I want to see some action during the game. And with the Rams and the Bills, I think we're going to get that on both sides of the ball, being that such a defenses have stayed healthy so far this year, and the offenses have stayed fairly healthy for both of those teams this year. I see the Bills' offense is kind of stalling. They're not getting those 30, 40, 50-point games that they were getting a month ago.
More difficult schedule now.
But Diggs is starting to come together. He's starting to get some more passes. Zach Moss is starting to become more of the dominant running back in that situation than Singletary. Obviously, you have to fight for that with, as I said earlier, Allen. It's always two running backs on the field at that point. But we'll see. Then you got Stafford, who's just going absolutely bonkers with Cooper Kupp. Those BFFs are just lighting it up. You got Van Jefferson, who stepped into the Deshaun Jackson role, or I should say owns that role. And then you got Rob Woods, who was absent for 6 weeks, has started putting up some numbers. So now they're firing on all cylinders. Darrell Henderson Jr. has stayed healthy, thankfully. They had their own problem with running backs for several years, going all the way back to Todd Gurley after his monster year. So it'd be nice. Things are coming together.
Yeah. And assuming that's the Super Bowl, Rams and Bills, I'm just going to throw my now. It's going to be a 28-24 Rams. So if that's the case, that's going to be my score prediction. Stafford for MVP. So
yeah, it's looking like that's probably going to be the case. But then it's going to be tough not to we're going to see how that offensive line holds up under Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald. I mean, you're going to have guys shooting up the middle, left and right. Allen's going to have to use his legs, and we'll see how he performs if that's what it comes down to. I don't think the Bills play the Rams at all in a regular season, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I don't think they do.
Right. So I just got an update here that on top of the charges that I discussed earlier about Henry Ruggs, he's also been charged with possession of a gun while under the influence.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that they did find a gun in his car after the crash.
Well,
so
let's move off of that subject. We hit that, and hearts, thoughts, prayers, vibes all go out to those involved, every single one of them. Big respect for the Raiders staff, and especially Derek Carr, saying they'd be there for their friend in Henry Ruggs, not the player, but the person. Big respect for that. But let's not touch too much on that topic. At the time of mourning right now.
Normal. Like this channel.
Yep.
Like at least on this show, we try not to get into subjects like this, and especially like politics, COVID stuff. Like speaking of COVID, Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID-19. He was on Pat McAfee's show just today talking about giving his side of the story. Pat even cracked some jokes saying, hey, we very well may be taken down off of YouTube possibly. But yeah, because Rodgers was talking Rodgers immediately talked about the quote unquote mob and the cancel culture, and he's talking about how we don't know a whole lot about the vaccine or whatever. Touchy subject. I'm not going to get full in depth with it because I don't want to get taken down either. But point being, he's tested positive, and he will miss Sunday's game against Kansas City, which is what everybody wanted to see. I wanted to see what deal would be better with State Farm, the Rodgers rate and the Patrick Price. We would have had the State Farm Bowl Sunday, but yeah, Rodgers out. Devontae Adams, very possible he's out, because I know he tested positive for COVID too, a few days prior. So
yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Adams is available, but we'll see how this offense runs. They're Jordan Love. If
this will be his first career start.
If,
So essentially, this is to see like, okay, is this our guy?
Yeah, and you know what? For a rookie quarterback to come in under a future Hall of Famer who's missing time because of his vaccination status, we're not going to be discussing that really. Aaron Rodgers just gave him the opportunity of a lifetime to go against a team who is, 3 years running a Super Bowl contender, although they're not playing anywhere close on the offense or defense to the team that they were in the last couple of years. This is his chance to really put his name out there. He's given them that on a golden platter. It's now up to Love to make the plays, drive this team, and see how they do. And like I said, with how poorly the Chiefs are playing on both sides of the ball, it seems like any success he may have could be amplified due to the fact of the poor play from the Chiefs. So we'll see how that goes. And, God bless him. Best of luck to all players at all times. But it's going to be interesting. He just gave him a blank check to possibly write his own future. And Rodgers just may have wrote himself out of the starting position. Not saying that that's going to be the case. That'd be silly.
It's not going to happen.
No.
I can say that right now.
Actually, on the show, he did specify that he spoke with Joe Rogan, of all people, the podcast king, that he's taking a cocktail of medicines and such. And his immunization comment was the fact that he was beefing up his own, not through the shots. I do feel it's fair to specify that Rodgers claims that he has an allergy to both the Pfizer and the Moderna shot, and he did not believe in the Johnson & Johnson because of the track record that they currently have with side effects. But that's the last we're going to say about that. But good luck to Jordan Love. I hope Patrick Mahomes gets back on his game. He knows he's not right. He's forcing plays. He's actually kind of doing stuff that you've seen Carson Wentz do in the last few years. Just really throwing away plays, literally, and throwing picks like he's throwing out candy. He's got to keep his eyes on the field, not on his wife and brother.
Yeah, I was about to say, hate to bring it up, hate to bring family into this, but he has some off-field distractions.
Yep, not good.
But everyone knows what we're referring to. It's a shame, but I would not hold it against him if he pulled an Aaron Rodgers either. Not the COVID part, but
goes radio silent on a couple of relatives. It's a possibility.
All of them, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, history does intend to repeat itself. So, could we very well possibly see what happened with Brett Favre? Packers drafted Rodgers as Favre's replacement, and how that whole story happened. How that went. Well, it happened possibly because no matter what, this is Rodgers' last year with the Packers. So,
the last dance.
Yeah, him and Adams. So, anyway, off of the Packers topic. So, Calvin Ridley is stepping away from football for the time being to focus on his mental health.
God bless him. I think Lane Johnson and Brandon Brooks Lane Johnson, is it Brooks? Lane Johnson and somebody else. I forget who the other Eagles lineman is that suffered.
Most likely Brandon Brooks.
They both shared in the fact last year, I believe it was, and on the Hard Knocks. That they deal with anxiety, and there's times where they would throw up before the game, during the game, after the game, and mental health is important. So congratulations to him for taking control of his life and not letting anything else derail that. Wish him all the best of luck, and gets back to the field. He is indefinitely stepping away from the game, but that very well could be a day, a week, a month, a year. You don't know, and he's a talented player, and we hope to see him get back to the field and do a little bit better. A new offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. There's a surgence of Cordell Patterson. Mike Davis isn't doing as well as people may have anticipated while he was the backup to Christian McCaffrey last year.
I wasn't expecting him to do well.
No, I believe I told you after Julio left, I said, hey, Calvin Ridley was a knockout last year towards the end of the season while Julio was dealing with injuries.
He still did good this year, but no one ever would have thought this would have happened.
No, not at all. And it's a lot of weight on his shoulders, I'm sure. So I'm hoping, he makes the best of his time and, gets where he needs to be. Respect.
So, Lane Johnson did say he was going to, I think he did say he was going to take some time off too, and that ended up being 3 games for him. Who knows what it'll be for Calvin Ridley, but hopefully let's all hope all is well. Because mental health is more important than football. It's more than a game. So,
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Play the sport they love, but they gotta love themselves first and love everybody around them. God knows we don't know what the issue is. We don't know what he's dealing with, but whatever it is, we hope he gets it straight and succeeds and finds what he's looking for and the peace that he needs and or wants.
Yep. So now we're off the Calvin Ridley topic. Is there a receiver you would like to trade me?
Not particularly. My team has the critical care unit not doing quite well. 2-6, currently bottom to
Well, you're
bottom.
touching fire. You won 2 straight games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, I started out with just injuries across the board to just about every position. I've made the comment multiple times that kicker on my team, Daniel Carlson, has been the healthiest player on my team, and I love his average of 6 to 10 points. Fantastic. With everything going on with the Raiders, it seems like his average may rise. Darren Waller's coming back. Maybe they could put some more things over the paint, but we'll see what happens there. But outside of that, A.J. Brown seems to have found his legs and his hands. Julio is going to be back or not, but AJB is just a beast of a man, and he's just making plays. We'll see how this offense works without Derrick Henry. Are there anybody I want to trade? Not realistically. I mean, it is what it is with my team. I just don't have enough pieces to be moving right now that is going to benefit me in any way, shape, or form, unless I gave up something huge, which I just don't have that kind of roster. So, as much as I'd like to make a trade.
Yeah, then there's me. My starting quarterback sprains his ankle. 2 of my running backs are on the IR. Chris Carson, David Montgomery. The last couple of weeks, my running backs are backups at Khalil Herbert, Eli Mitchell. Dalvin Cook fell off, but hey, Mitchell and Herbert were great pickups. Not complaining. I am, in fact, a Calvin Ridley owner, but I'm not going to fantasy into that because, that'd be awful.
Yep. Well, I got to say, you got Amari Cooper also, so he's been dealing with some stuff. We do have reports that CeeDee Lamb is highly questionable for Sunday's game, developed an ankle injury in practice today. Eli Mitchell, as I specified earlier in the stream about an hour ago, that he's got an injury he's working with and it was a non-contact jersey, which puts him seriously questionable. We'll hear more about it Saturday at 4 o'clock or even before the game at 1 o'clock on Sunday.
In other words, my whole team is questionable,
Yes, and then Khalil Herbert, David Montgomery is back at practice. And Khalil Herbert, if I'm not mistaken, has some kind of goofiness going on. So you may be getting pieces back, you may be losing some more pieces. So welcome to purgatory or critical care unit. You may be the ICU. The questionables, yeah. I got when I look at my roster, there are so many letters. I feel like I'm looking like the Greek alphabet. It is awful.
I know.
IAO COV Q IR.
It's brutal.
Just stop, please.
Yeah, I know. I noticed ever since I rebranded my team to the questionables and no longer Team Greek, I have in fact won 3 in a row, which is good. But yet now I'm being put to the test. I'm going against someone who did in fact start Jonathan Taylor, who casually puts up 34 points. Kyler Murray's questionable. DeAndre Hopkins is questionable. Eli Mitchell is questionable. Amari Cooper is questionable.
Sounds like your team's got a stuttering.
I'm not new to it.
Your team's got a stuttering problem. Can't win. But hey.
That's all, folks.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But I also haven't lost a fantasy game when I start Jalen Hurts, so that's good.
Yeah, I gotta say, since I changed my team name from the Beard, which is still here, but not in the glorious manner that it was, we're seeing, I got let's see, A.J. Brown. Let's look at his injury status here. Let's see. Brown, who practiced fully Wednesday and Thursday, was added to the Week 9 injury report as questionable for Sunday night's game against the Rams after missing practice Friday with a knee issue. Now, you could ask which knee, but it wouldn't matter because...
I'm probably stuttering.
Yeah, you're stuttering right now. You're frozen. You are playing the best game of freeze I've ever seen. Kudos to you. So A.J. Brown has a knee issue. Doesn't specify in the report which knee it is, but it doesn't matter because he had operation on both of those in the past season and played through bone bruises in his knees last season. Do I think that's going to be a problem for him? I sure hope not. But we shall see. Michael Carter, is somebody I picked up, and I'm glad I didn't start him because, yeah, he had a stellar game last week and lost the quarterback that was at the helm for the dump-off king, which Phillip Rivers may be for the Saints, by the way. He ended up with, I think, 76 yards and 2 receptions. So, yeah, no good there. Christian McCaffrey has been designated back off of IR, I believe. Or no, he hasn't come back from IR. So you don't have to specify what his status is, but he was at practice. So he may play. So we will see what happens there.
I'm not going to lie to you. I've been using my mobile hotspot this whole time. My phone died, so that I probably didn't hear what you said the last minute or so. So
I figured that happened, and I continued on with the stream.
Nobody
knew.
That's good. Huh?
Nobody knew. Nobody even noticed.
Good. Until I brought it up. So, yeah, that's great.
Fantastic.
I'm glad we were able to do that. So, yeah, luckily let me look at this. I need to look at the statistics for this real quick. Hold on. Let's see here. Yahoo Sports. So, yeah, my phone died. I'm sitting you would see me look to my right, and that's me looking at my phone battery because I'm watching it just drop, and then I completely forget that I that I was using my hotspot until my phone died, and then my Zoom froze. So that wasn't good at all, of course. But hey, we're back. The show must go on. Right.
Indeed.
All right, so let's see. Let's look at Julius Randle real quick. Okay, Julius Randle needs one more rebound, and I should be golden. So, now back on the topic. So, like I said, like we talked about already, Adrian Peterson signed to the Titans. He's 36 years old. Phillip Rivers said if the Saints call him for being their quarterback, he will listen. The Rams cut Deshaun Jackson after mutually agreeing to part ways, I should say. Daniel Jones is now 0 for 7 in primetime games after Monday's loss to Kansas City, making him the first quarterback in NFL history to lose their first 7. Now that
Seems
they
like
mentioned
a Danny Dimes stat.
Yeah. But now because of that, I need to see Kirk Cousins and Daniel Jones play in a primetime game because they both suck in primetime.
Yeah, so, I don't want to see that because I just want to be able to watch some decent football. And I don't know if I
just want to watch it just for the memes.
I'd rather just
who's worse
have you show me the memes after the game's over and have to sit through 3 or 4 hours of that. That does not sound like fun. Sorry, but not sorry.
I don't blame you.
Deshaun being released, my opinion on Deshaun. When Howie was
he's just been stealing money the past couple seasons.
Yeah, I mean, the guy was sitting comfortably on the couch getting paid handsomely. Do I think he's a great player? Yes, absolutely. Do I think he still has it? Yes, absolutely. But after he took 6 months to make a decision to have a core muscle surgery, it's like, it's the same thing with Julio. It's like, get this addressed. The same thing with getting Hopkins out there. Get it addressed. Don't continue to go out week to week and give it 6-7 days of healing. You can get PRPs or PLP, plasma platelet recharges, whatever. I'm not a doctor, but I've read enough. Get these injuries under control. I mean, your team's 7-1 right now. Your quarterback is injured. Maybe give yourself a little bit of a rest. Try and let the remainder of the team work out. I mean, they lost J.J. Watt to a pec bicep injury again. The team's falling apart at a critical time in the year, and we're talking season-ending injuries. They've got half a season to go. They need to make it into January, December, January games. and we'll see how that plays out. So just Sean Jackson, do I think he's going to land anywhere quick? Not really. Maybe a wide receiver needy team. Maybe the Raiders may end up picking him up. I think it's
especially after Henry Ruggs, they need a deep threat.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's a possibility there. If they don't sign OBJ, but I don't think whatever. I'm not going to touch that OBJ subject again. Who else were some of those names that you mentioned?
So what are you talking about? Like
you just named off. You rattled off a couple of names of people that were released or injured, etc. One of which being Deshaun.
Well, I talked about Philip Rivers about saying that if the Saints called him, he would listen. I mean, I wouldn't blame him. Joe Judge mentioned in his press conference that him and his team have been having trouble with their headsets all season. Like, okay, you could have addressed all of this between weeks, but now you just want to mention it when you have a piss poor record.
Now, just to make sure I'm correct, this is Joe Judge of the Giants, correct?
Yes.
Okay, the same place where it's just like a minefield for players and their knees.
God, my internet's bad.
It's awful. You think your headsets are the biggest problem?
Yeah, that like you think. I know you need that. I know you need those to communicate, but there's a lot of other problems you have. Like, first off, you spend like pretty much an entire. Who's this?
We have a Vicente.
Oh my God!
How about it? Welcome.
You still need to connect.
How's the program there, buddy? And only an hour and 15 minutes late.
Hold on. Oh my God.
Touching on that, Philip Rivers, the king of the dump off. That's interesting for Alvin Kamara, who's one of the top backs in the league right now, and has been for years to come. If he ends up playing with Trevor Siemian, got the name correct, or Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's like a second running back, just like the Allen, Murray, possibly Tannehill situation we're going to see without Henry. He's got Mark Ingram back, taking some of those snaps back from Kamara. Possibly getting OBJ with the Saints is going to take some away from Kamara. Try and freshen his legs up for a push there. We'll see what happens. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. So,
what's up,
Jalen Smith gets cut again by Green Bay. Oh, Lord. Okay, he's muted. Whatever. Anyway, back to topic. Show must go on. Show must go. For fuck's sake, let me just look at my thing. So, Jalen Smith gets cut by Green Bay. He's a free agent again. But anyway, let's talk about our offensive and defensive players of the week. For me, I would say offensive player of the week would be Mike White of the New York Jets. 82% of his passes were completed, 405 yards passing, and 3 touchdowns. So he's easily my offensive player of the week. Defensive player of the week, we have Adrian Phillips, who is a defensive back for the Patriots. I didn't think the Patriots were going to do what they did with the Chargers. Adrian Phillips had 3 tackles, 2 picks, and one of them taken to the house for pick 6. So I don't know if you agree, but those are my players of the week.
I agree, and I have a note about the Chargers and the Patriots. I'm not surprised at all. Bill Belichick has a reputation and a habit of absolutely destroying fairly new quarterbacks. Herbert's on fire outside of his Belichick games. I think he's 0 for 2 against Belichick since he's come into the league and replaced Tyrod Taylor as the quarterback for the Chargers. So I'm not surprised at all of the outcome, to be honest. Mike Williams' gameplay has been down a little bit. Keenan Allen starting to step up a little bit. Speaking of the Chargers, Austin Eckler has got a hip injury, but he is a man among fantasy men where he's very vocal about his injuries and his belief of how well he's going to play. or if he's going to play, and he'll put a picture of his own starting lineup, which has his own player himself on his own team. So we'll expect Austin Eckler to be out there in full blast. He can't do everything, but I'm not surprised that unfortunately Eckler did well, but Herbert did not. It's just what Bill Belichick does, and he does it well. It's statistically proven over 20 some odd years now. And Herbert's 0-2. It's time for him to get back on a horse and continue on. Now, it looks like Mikey, unfortunately, is disconnected. Are you there, Vicente?
I'm here.
What up, Dow?
Nothing much. Sorry I joined late. I was watching a movie with my dad, so I'm here now.
Family time. Nothing wrong with that. What do you got to talk about today? What movie did you watch?
Oh, he wanted to watch the last 30 minutes of Endgame.
Endgame. Okay. So we're talking from the battlefield to the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Awesome ending in that movie. If you haven't seen it, go see it. I'm not going to do any spoilers, although at this point, if you haven't seen it, what have you been doing with your life? So what have you got to add for football-related content?
Were we talking about like offensive players of the week?
Yes, we've.
So we're.
Can you Can you try and tell me what the meeting password is? The internet is just pure shit right now.
Sorry. Hold on one moment. Let me. I have you on speakerphone right now. What did you ask?
I needed the meeting passcode because my internet sucks.
Okay, very good. Vicente, do you have the meeting password you can send him?
No, you can only look at it like you go to invite. I think it's like Control I or I don't know what it is, but I don't know.
Well, this is not my setup.
If you go to
Mike, I'll just probably send you the link then. Wait, look at the email I sent you then. Join that link then. You just do that.
Let me do it. Accept my thing. I'll find it.
All right, hold on. Go to connect. Please hold while we're doing technical difficulties.
Hey everyone.
All right, so go ahead, Vicente. While he's working on that, why don't you go ahead and repeat what you're doing? Your offensive, defensive player of the weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pay attention as much as like defensive players, but I would say my offensive player has to be. Didn't Deebo Samuel go off this week?
That's a Deebo Samuel thing to do, but I don't have his stats, but it sounds like it. Let's take a look and see how Deebo did.
I think he's off this week. I'm not really sure.
Let's see. What is Deebo? I'm looking. Deebo Samuel had 23 points in fantasy. Last week he had 9 targets, 6 receptions for 171 yards, 1 red zone target, red zone goal to go, but did not score. So he did have 6 receptions of 9 for 171 yards. So
he's my offensive player of the week this week. He went off. I mean, he's going against the Bears defense. They are okay, but he went off this week. He almost had a touchdown, but Jimmy Garoppolo threw it way out of his catchability view. Yeah, threw to the side of him. He had a hand on it. It was a catchable ball, but it's whatever. And that's my offensive player of the week. He had another amazing week. Deebo Samuel is going to be a great receiver one day. He's still young. I don't know how young he is, but I think he's 25 or younger. But he's going to be a good receiver for that franchise. And I didn't really pay attention to defense this week.
Fair enough. To touch note on the Deebo information, you have Deebo Samuel, who, yes, talented receiver, no doubt about it. But he's been performing like crazy. But that's also been, I'd be remiss in not stating that the running back room for the 49ers has been injury prone all over the place. Earlier in the episode so far, which you weren't here for, you've got Elijah Mitchell is now questionable. He's in a non-contact jersey today. Apparently something happened during practice, and he may not play this Sunday. Jeff Wilson is expected to come back from IR and possibly play this week, if I'm not mistaken, if not next week. So the running back room is changing again. With that being said, George Kittle is off of IR, and there's a chance that he may play this weekend as well. How many of those targets are going to disappear? Brandon Ayuk is finally seemingly out of the doghouse. I believe he got 7 targets, and he ran a route on like 93% of the dropbacks. So we'll see how much the running back, the tight end, and the additional receiver coming back to play, how much that changes Debo's output. Is he going to get another 171-yard game? Who knows? I'm taking a look here at Tyreek's game last week against the Giants. Had 18 targets for 12 receptions and only 94 yards for 12 receptions and a touchdown. Good for almost 30 points in fantasy last week. Chris Godwin also had a fairly large week last week. He had 12 receptions also for 8 yards, 140 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Earlier in the video, we were discussing about how well some of these players have done and how poorly the Chiefs' offense and defense have been, and basically how teams are now getting tired, seemingly, of the air raids that are happening all over the place. Like last year with the Raiders, the Falcons. They're just air bombing balls out all over the place. So now it seems like a lot of defenses with these high-octane offenses, except for the Rams, haven't been able to be contained. They're just playing, 2 high safeties, or they're playing their, secondaries 15 yards with the line of scrimmage, and they're letting them complete as many passes as possible for 8, 10, 12 yards at a time, as long as they're keeping out of the end zone, but they're not letting people like Tyreek get behind them. Kind of like how Tyreek went off for 170 yards or so against the Eagles a few weeks ago, and really took them to the house a couple of times, I believe, 2-3 times.
2-3 times?
So
I think it was twice, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I could take a look at that and see, but yeah, that was...
I do remember watching that game. He was burning our safeties badly. Yeah, he got behind our safeties each time.
Yeah, he was that's Tyreek doing Tyreek things.
I mean, we played the right defense, but it's just our defense is really, really soft.
Yeah.
Besides outside of Darius Slot.
Yeah, now, I mean, the fact that he was just taking the top off of the...
Uncle.
Yes, sir.
So, you have a screen popped up on Zoom. I may need you to X out of that. There should be a thing that says invite, if you'd be able to click that.
I see you, and it says mute and more.
Me?
Yeah, I see you. It says host.
No, that's technically you.
Oh.
There should be a thing that says invite, and then the password should be on there.
I see the password. I'm going to use my cell phone to take a picture of it because this is far enough away that my bad eyeballs can't see it. I'm just going to zoom in.
Just make sure no one on the stream sees it.
I'm sharing it with everybody. You're not the boss of me.
Okay. Sure.
The password is Simeon.
Simeon? Like, Simeon?
No, that's a joke.
Oh.
Wait.
That's all, folks.
Okay. I'll send my Bye.
Yep, goodbye. Well, he didn't want anybody to see the information, but it, for whoever was watching, it was there. Unfortunately, he had too much of the screen shared. But either way, so yeah, he did some damage to the Eagles. I was looking for it. Let's see, where is it? What week was that? Was that before week 5?
That was week...
Here it is here. 42-30. Kansas City won. Tyreek Hill currently wide receiver 2 behind Cooper Kupp. He had 12 targets, 11 receptions for 186 yards and 3 touchdowns. Yeah. So 47.6 points in fantasy. He absolutely blew the tops off of our defense. But it seems like a lot of these teams, the defenses at least, are getting tired of the air raid. They're getting tired of people just getting behind them, and they're just keeping everything in front. And I think that's a lot of reason of why you're seeing Cooper Kupp go absolutely bonkers. I mean, he's a great receiver. I had him in fantasy a few years ago, and he was doing phenomenal. I had him again last year, and fell off the mark with his ACL injury. But this year, with Stafford just airing it out, I mentioned before, I think Goff is a fraud. He had a top receiver, or top running backs, top receivers, and he was fantastic guilty by association. A lot of those pieces are gone now. We're not doing so well. But it is what it is. So with that being said, it looks like these defenses are getting tired of getting the tops blown off. So keep everything in front of them. What else you got to add?
Did we talk about the Odell incident yet?
Yes, actually, we did touch on it. The father with the 10 or 11-minute video showing replays of OBJ just being wide open. And, as much as he's not getting the ball, he's kind of a diva. My opinion is he's a diva. He's kind of a cancer to a locker room. I didn't really care for his lift the leg and urinating on the goalpost thing that he did. That shows zero maturity. And I don't think that's good for any locker room. It seems like everywhere he goes, it's ritz and glamour, and then it's just a bad breakup. And it's like, when does these teams learn that this is what happens? But there are plenty of teams that are wide receiver needy. Unfortunately, the Raiders, due to some horrific news, are needy of a wide receiver. But OBJ hasn't really been a factor as a wide receiver for a few years. Does he still have the juice? Is it there?
I think he still has the juice. Now, I was watching First Take today, and I was watching Stephen A. and Ryan Logan, right? I think it was Ryan Logan. I'm not sure. I think that's his name. But he went to LSU, and he's close with Odell. And a lot of guys said, Odell, he's a great guy in the locker room. They love his attitude. Like, even the Giants, when he was traded, they're like, man, I wish Odell never left. We love this guy. And, like, some of the Browns players, too, like, man, we like this guy. And Jarvis Juice Landry, his teammate, his roommate, is like, I think he tweeted out, he's like, man, I'm really going to miss this guy. Like, I'm going to miss my friend. But, like, I mean, things happen. It's a business. Like, I think Odell is still a good receiver in the league. Like, his production went down. Hold on, give me a second.
I do agree. While you're, his play has gone down, but I think that's more quarterback play than anything else. He's got Baker there, who's dealing with an injury. As much as I think Baker is not a great quarterback, at least his maturity is holding him back. Kevin Stefanski's been doing fantastic. Also, as I mentioned to Michael earlier in the video, that when you have a 1A 1B in Chubb and Hunt, and now Chubb and Johnson, who had a great couple of weeks while filling in for Chubb, you don't really seem to need to throw the ball too much, especially with this shoulder injury, which is going to require surgery. He's going to try and stick it out. Who knows if that's going to affect his gameplay. But I agree. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's got a maturity problem. But one thing I didn't say earlier is this guy has a lot of friends, celebrities, other major sports figures, whether owners or staff, coaching, or even players. He's hashtag free OBJ was posted by LeBron, I'm not mistaken. So I don't think he's going to have a hard time going to a team. I think he's going to get picked up rather quickly, especially if they just restructured his contract to make it a little bit easier for teams to pick him up. But like I said, I just don't agree with how he carries himself, and that's just me. Whatever. But, carry some professionalism, and it seems like it's always some kind of drama. It's like Antonio Brown of the last several years, and it's just like, I'm tired of hearing about it. Just like I'm tired of hearing about Watson being tied to the Eagles, and Russ being tied to the Eagles, and Eagles being tied to every single person that is available in the coming draft, or with waivers, or with contract negotiations, blah, blah, blah.
Uncle, if you can hear me, you have the people who are participating in the Zoom, that tab's open. If you'd be able to close it. It's like that, down arrow on the top.
Hey!
There we go. Look at this. Look how beautiful.
Fantastic.
See,
Now, I was
Alright.
going to say,
You guys
I
miss
think
me?
Dark. No, not really. I was
Okay,
going to say a dark horse team for to pick up Odell is the Ravens.
That'd be
Because
interesting.
I know, I mean, they already have Marquise Brown, but Marquise Brown's he's having a good season, but he's not really like a number one guy when you need him in the long run. I think if they add OBJ, Lamar will become a way better passer. You don't have to rely on him running the ball all the time. And they have a good run game without Lamar Jackson. I mean, the running back core is stacked, but they have three good guys who can run the ball. I mean, they're all old and washed up, but they can run the ball. And I think it was against the Chiefs or one team where they literally just ran the ball with three different running backs down the field and they got a touchdown. So they have a great running offense. I think if Lamar opens up his passing, that offense would be unstoppable. Because you saw him against the Colts. Once this man starts passing, they freak out because they don't know if he's going to run it or pass. And he has a great arm. As you saw in the Bengals game, I think he threw some picks, but that amazing throw, that amazing catch to Marquise Brown in the end zone against the Bengals, that was a good throw. Am I on mute? No, you guys can't hear me.
Nope, either.
But people know on this stream that I bash on Lamar Jackson all the time.
You do.
All the time. But I mean, I don't hate the guy. I love the guy. He's a good guy. I just want to see him become a great passer. Now, Jalen Hurts is becoming Lamar Jackson. Jalen Hurts, all this dude is going to run, but that's not really him sometimes. I think it's Nick Sirianni, the offensive line collapsing 24/7, and we don't run the ball. But I think a dark horse team would be the Ravens.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. I would say they would do well. I mean, there's a lot of egos on that team. Lamar's a big part of it. Marquise Brown is injury prone. He's burned me more than a few times in the last few years in fantasy football. Just can't stay healthy, can't stay in the field. Sammy Watkins is on the Ravens now, and he's injury prone. He was with the Chiefs, and for whatever reason, the Ravens picked him up. Rashad Bateman is, unfortunately starting his career with a major injury, just getting back and doing fairly well so far, and I'm sure as time goes on, he'll go better. But that'd be crazy to see three wide receiver sets with, Mark Andrews, OBJ, Marquise Brown, and Rashad Bateman, and then with Lamar, obviously, in quarterback, and then you have Latavius Murray, Deontay Freeman, or Ty Johnson. No, that's the wrong guy. Tyson Williams as one of the other. That's a pretty stacked, offensive ability right there between the receivers and the runners, with Lamar going either way. That should be interesting to see. So that'd be pretty cool, but we'll see what happens.
And I think that also another dark horse team would be the Packers. Now, I know they have Devontae Adams, but imagine they had OBJ on the other side. That's nasty. That's disgusting. Defenses would be like, whoa, what do we do? They have to a whole new game plan. I think that would go really well when they want to make a deep playoff run and finally go to the Super Bowl. Because their defense is solid. They have a great quarterback. Could be MVP this year. I don't know. But they have a great quarterback. And 1-2 punch on each side. And Aaron Jones in the backfield and Lazard. And their tight end is getting better. And Randall Cobb in the slot. That team would be disgusting. Yeah. Nasty.
Randall Cobb is picking up where Devontae was not available because of COVID and possibly maybe not this week as well. MVS is coming back from an injury. Lazard is coming back from an injury. Devontae may be playing again. It'd be crazy to have OBJ there as well. People say A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, great running backs. In their own right, they are. But at the same time, when you've got triple coverage on a receiver, the box tends to be lighter. I'd like to see, I don't know the statistics offhand, but I'd like to see what the box stack number is when Devontae's on the field and when he's not on the field, and what is the YPC, what's the yard per carry or yards after contact for the running backs when Devontae's on the field. Having OBJ there would be great, but we did mention earlier in the stream that Aaron Rodgers is going to be his last year halfway through the season. You signed OBJ today to the Packers. It's Friday night. He's not going to be playing with the team. He won't be there this week. He maybe will be there next week. So that'd be week 10. It's a 17-week season. I think they're 7-1 right now, 6-2. So they definitely have playoff potential right there, especially with that goofy win over the Cardinals where A.J. Green just decided to mentally check out of that game while standing in the end zone. So cheap win, but it's a W, so whatever. But that'd be interesting to see. I think if he were there, he could probably make an immediate impact. but who knows how's that going to play out? Is LaFleur ready to bring in OBJ? Devontae is a huge piece there, so I mean it'd be very complimentary football. Very interesting to see.
I think if they bring it up, they're not going to resign. Because if this is Rodgers' last dance, and they want to go all in, I would push for OBJ. I would invest mostly everything to get him, so you can make sure Rodgers' last dance ends with a Super Bowl.
So, I agree. Here's the only downside: is are they going to invest in OBJ when there's a highly likelihood that Aaron Rodgers is no longer part of the Packers come the 2022 season? And what if Devontae decides to take what if Devontae Adams decides to take a walk wherever Aaron goes, Devontae goes? They obviously have a crazy connection, Vulcan mind meld on each other, where they just have the mojo, like Kupp and Stafford this year. So do they invest in OBJ, who's going to be a high value receiver, probably going to be pretty costly, maybe not because of his injuries recently, especially coming back from an ACL tear. So and his attitude, ego problems, that off field drama. So it'd be interesting. Are they going to invest in a player like that when the next quarterback in 9 games, if they don't make the playoffs, will be Jordan Love, more likely than not? So it'd be interesting to see what pieces that they build around him. Is he going to be, if Aaron leaves, Devontae, there's a good chance 50-50 Devontae leaves as well, unless the Packers make him some kind of crazy deal for one or both of them to make them stay. Is OBJ really going to be the focal point of this offense? That's a question I have. Is that a good point? I think that's a good point.
I don't think OBJ will not get 1,000 yards this season, but I think he just wants the ball thrown to him more than it was in Cleveland. Why is he laughing?
There's some smack talk going on. I'm about to kick him out of this stream since I am Michael and I have the rights to give him the boot.
I think he just wants the ball thrown more to him. So
Michael has considerably more facial hair this week than he did last week.
I know, I'm growing a mustache.
Yeah, I have that in like 2 days.
Yeah, up yours, pal.
I think OBJ just wants to get out of Cleveland because the way their offense is set up, and he just wants the ball thrown more to him. Now, I think he knows if he goes to the Packers, the ball's gonna be thrown to him, but not like Devontae Adams, because that's his number one guy. But personally, I think if he gets 5 catches a game, over 50 yards, I think he will be fine, honestly, and I think he will fit in that offense. But if he goes to the Raiders, he'll be the number one guy, or the Ravens. But was he the number one guy in Cleveland? Because Jarvis Landry did have some better seasons over there.
Jarvis Landry consistently had better seasons. One of the things Michael mentioned earlier in the stream is that statistically, Baker Mayfield and the Browns are a better team when OBJ is not on the field. So, statistically, this is number proven. This is not an opinion. This is not option. This is not hearsay. This is fact. The numbers don't lie. It's a worse team and a worse quarterback. Maybe wrong choice of words. They perform better when OBJ is not involved. So maybe Kevin Stefanski got it right. Don't travel with the team. We'll release you because it's better anyway.
Well, I'm looking at the stats. Odell, he still put up 1,000 yards every year he's been with the Browns, except when he wasn't healthy. And since Jarvis Landry has been on the team, he only eclipsed 1,000 yards once, and that was 2019. I don't have their stats side by side. I could pull that up, but as of right now, since Jarvis has been with the Browns, he's only had one 1,000-yard season with them. I can pull this up real quick.
While you do that, I gotta say, although OBJ's stats may be more padded than...
No. I'm not saying because... No, I know they're a better team without him, but I'm looking here.
Well, the point Vicente was making is I think Jarvis Landry seems to be more of a focal point on that offense than OBJ does. I think that's what he was questioning. And that's the reason why I have concerns about going to the Packers for a dark horse team, because it seems like OBJ, he's leaving this team because he wasn't getting enough attention. He's like I said he's got immaturity problems, in my opinion. Who am I? Whatever. My opinion. Hate me. I don't care. But seems like it's an immaturity problem where, hey, you're part of a team. The team is not it is everybody. If it takes them to win and you don't get those targets, tough luck. Better for the team. Everybody gets a ring or nobody gets a ring. Just how it works. So can he go to a team like the Packers where he is not the number one? He's going to be playing with a Hall of Fame quarterback, Hall of Fame receiver. Maybe he tucks in his ego a little bit and gets to work, but maybe he doesn't. Goes to the Ravens, I think if he goes to the Ravens, he'd be wide receiver 1. I think everybody else takes a second, and then depending on how Bateman rolls out, maybe it's, a 1-2 situation. If he were to go to the Eagles, I think he'd be wide receiver 1. If he went to the Raiders, he'd be wide receiver 1. So teams where he could take over as the alpha, I think he will thrive. But I'd be interested to see if his play level is still as high as it was back in the days with Eli throwing him the ball. If he doesn't get to that, or he doesn't produce that way, does he have another, temper tantrum and wants to get traded again, wants to be released? That's my problem with him. I don't know how mature he's going to be in all of this.
Yeah, I just looked.
How does the waivers wire work? They're like
right now the Jags have the first dibs at him. And then the Eagles will be like the next closest. We are currently running out of time. We have 10 minutes left in this meeting.
Okay, so, all right, let's cut the shit on Odell then, if that's the case, and let's go to our picks. So, Vicente, you may not have heard, but this week was awful for us. I went 8-7. You went 7-8. Uncle Sal went 9-6. Matt went 7-8. Anthony went 7-8. Madden went 7-8. So everyone did terrible this week.
I'm above 500. Well, I don't care about all you, but I'm above 500.
I mean, yeah. So he has all the bragging rights right now. So
it hasn't happened often this year, so I'm taking it and I'm running with it for the next 6 days.
I'm not holding it against him either. So.
What? Of course.
All right, run through the picks, Mikey.
All right, so Jets in Indianapolis. I already know who all you had. It was not a surprise. Next, we have Cleveland and Cincinnati. Who do we have? I have Cleveland. It's very close.
What? Give me the bundles. Give me the bundles.
I'm going to take the Bengals as well.
All right, Madden is going with Cleveland. Next, we have Denver at Dallas. I am going with Dallas. Mike McCarthy says that Prescott should be good to go.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going with Dallas. The Broncos have lost too many pieces, especially on the defense. If there's no Von Miller, they're not stopping Dak from going bonkers as he has been. That's a Dak thing to do. Next team.
Next, we have Houston and Miami. They said Tyrod Taylor is playing this week. This will be his first game back since tearing his hamstring weeks ago.
Congratulations to Brandon Cooks to get back up on top in that top wide receiver 10-20 conversation. News is Devontae Parker is injured, sustained an injury.
I think.
Yep, so there goes that. Mike Gesicki's been getting a lot of the targets anyway. Jalen Waddle's been heating up, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to go, I got to be honest, I got to go with the Dolphins anyway.
That's what I'm going with, too.
Next team.
You know what? Wait. You know what? Give me the Houston Texans. Tyrod Taylor's going to light them up.
I hope so. We need Texans. It. That helps us with our draft pick. So, yeah, Matt is going with Houston. Matt is going with Dallas. Next game, we have Atlanta at New Orleans. We have Trevor Siemian. Said it correctly.
What did you say last time?
Can you say his last name 3 times fast?
Siemian.
Seaman.
Well, we're kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Vicente. All right, we have Atlanta and New Orleans. Jameis Winston tears his ACL. I'm still going with New Orleans because Calvin Ridley, he's also stepping away from football. I'm still going with New Orleans.
Yeah, I think their defense has been putting in work. So, and they've got Kamara. It is what it is. There are reports of OBJ going to the Saints, or at least had interest before the trade deadline. So maybe steps in the role since Michael Thomas is on IR, out for the season as well with an injury. Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Saints.
Yeah, on CBS Sports, the Saints are the number 1 team to get OBJ. I'm also going with the Saints. I don't know how their offense is going to be without Jameis Winston. I'm actually really bummed he got hurt. I was rooting for the guy. But I'm going with the Saints. Their defense looked amazing against the Bucs. Even though they gave up like 20-some points, it looked amazing.
All right, next we have Vegas at New York. I'm going with Vegas, despite everything that's going on in that city right now.
I'm going with the Raiders.
I'm also taking the Raiders. Darren Waller is making his return after an ankle injury sustained late last week before the bye. So, you got the big man. Josh Jacobs is seeming to get healthier and better as weeks go by. Hunter Renfrow is establishing himself as a quality back. Without Ruggs, Bryan Edwards may be going to step forward. Let's go with the Raiders.
All right, Madden's going with the Raiders and New Orleans. Next, we have New England at Carolina. I do not care who is the running back for Carolina. I'm picking New England after they bamboozled the Chargers last week.
Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots.
Yeah, it's hard to not go with Belichick in these situations.
I won $40. Let's go.
Did he go double-double?
Yes, he got his double-double. 27 points, 12 rebounds. Let's go.
Yeah, I told you. Talk to my son about it.
All right, next team.
All right, so you guys are going with New England, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, Madden's going with New England, assuming whatever. I'll talk about it in the next stream. Next, no question, Buffalo, Jacksonville, moving on.
Next.
How you doing? Keep it moving. Minnesota at Baltimore.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting. Give me Baltimore. Give me Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm going with Baltimore here.
Jefferson hasn't been playing too well. Dalvin Cook, it's Dalvin Cook. Yeah, let's go be more.
Okay, next we have the LA Chargers against the Philadelphia Eagles. Chargers get, like I said, they get creamed. They get awestruck last week. And we just straight up touch the Lions last week. I'm still going with the Chargers, though. I seriously do not see
Chargers. Besides what my background says, going with the Chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Chargers. Mike Williams is going to get right. A lot of teams, statistically, generally, when a team gets blown out or embarrassed, they usually come back strong.
They get humbled next week.
Darius plays on Mike Williams. Mike Williams will probably get 2 receptions for like 20-something yards.
Yeah, I think Darius Slay is going to be on Keenan Allen, honestly.
I hope not. Please not.
Yeah. Yeah. Keenan Allen is still a top wide receiver. It's just Mike Williams is eating.
You know what I think is going to happen? I think we're going to be able to shut down Allen and Mike Williams. And
for my sake, I need Keenan Allen to go off this week.
What I'm trying to say is I think Jared Cook is going to go off, if anything.
Yeah, the Eagles have a problem defending that tight end. Like I said, these defenses
I
are
picked him up for fantasy this week because
I was thinking about picking him up.
Yeah, I picked him up because
my old teammate, my old bud.
All right, next we have Green Bay at Kansas City. We could have had the
State
so insurance company bowl, but we're not. No free advertising, sorry. And so we have Jordan Love and Patrick Mahomes. Give me the Chiefs.
Question: Packers last week were without Alexander and King. Are they back this week?
I think Alexander is out for at least a couple more weeks. I think Kevin King may come back, but Kevin King isn't even that good in the first place anyway. I'm going with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Go Pack, go! I'm going with the Packers.
Keep in mind, Devontae may not be back because of COVID. Aaron Rodgers is out because of COVID. King and Alexander are out. Mahomes is playing like Wentz circa 2019, so we'll see.
All right, we have 2:40 left. Arizona at San Francisco. We have no idea if Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins are playing. Anthony's dry humping my laptop. Screw you, pal.
I'm going 49ers, pending they don't play.
That's what I would say too.
Yeah, if they don't play.
But we have no idea yet.
Next.
Said you're questionable. You're deaf. Get out. Shut up. Shut up.
Next.
All right, next we have Tennessee at Los Angeles to play the Rams. Derrick Henry's out to 6 to 8 weeks. It doesn't matter. I have us. I have the Rams because I seriously.
I'm going with the Rams. Derrick Henry's not playing, so
I'm going with the Rams, and I'm going to watch Von Miller eat this weekend.
You're gonna watch what?
I think Von Miller is going to eat. I think he's going to go berserk this game.
Yeah,
this is going to be his welcoming party, and I think he's going to go nuts.
Yeah, I know.
Next.
Next we have Chicago at Pittsburgh. No coincidence. Justin Fields plays lights out without Matt Nagy, but Matt Nagy's back this week, so Pittsburgh's at an advantage. I'm going with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. Deontay Johnson is healthy. Najee Harris is, averaging 20-plus points a week. Claypool is back. They're expecting a big game from him. Nice haircut. So, yeah, there you go. That's it. Next.
I'm going with Steelers.
No, that's it for the games. Oh, my God. As I've said before, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you we are a sports show. We are strictly a sports show. Okay, my mom's dying upstairs. No big deal. So we only have, I'd say, 45 seconds left. Uncle Sal, thank you for taking over. I appreciate it. Vicente, thank you for coming on. Shout out to Kim Jong-Cena in the background. Yeah. Thank you. This was great. My internet sucks, but that didn't stop us.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Uncle Sal, if you want to end the stream, just hit 7 on the stream, and yeah.
See you, everyone.
See ya.
Good luck to everybody, and mental health is important. Please take the time you need. Speak to those that are appropriate for it. God bless everybody. Get the hell off my stream.